New concerns for the president's health care plan just days before the online insurance exchanges are scheduled to open up. And one expert is comparing the battle over Obamacare to the infamous Battle of the Alamo, suggesting that the freedom of the American people to control their own health care is now under siege and that reinforcements may not be on the way. Dr. Ben Carson is author of the New York Times bestseller America the Beautiful and professor emeritus of neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins University. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you. Always good to be with you.
All right, you wrote a very interesting piece that drew a lot of historical parallels between our current situation and what was happening at the Alamo. How are the two connected?
Well, you had a relatively small force at the Alamo, and you had a massive force arrayed against it. And when the Alamo people asked for help, it was determined that their situation was hopeless, and therefore help didn't come, even though they were fighting very hard, figuring that if they could just hold out for a few days, help would arrive. They lost that battle, even though they killed 600 of Santa Anna's men. There were only 200 of them, but it wasn't enough. However, their bravery, their taking a stand, inspired thousands of others to join the cause, and the war was won even though the battle was lost. And very similarly, we have a situation where the executive branch of government is controlled by the same group that's controlling the Senate. So you have a majority who feel that they know more about how to take care of people than people know about taking care of themselves, along with their health care providers. And they have decided that they're going to force their will upon everybody else because they have the numbers to do so. And like the people at the Alamo, those who oppose that should stand firm. They should never give in, because if nothing else, we will have on record for everybody to see those people who feel that they know more than the people do, that they should be the ones in control of our lives, and we can deal with them appropriately at the polls. Our system was set up in order to do it that way. If any branch of government ever got out of control, the people are at the pinnacle of power. They must learn to exercise that power. If we'd been doing this all along, we never would have had these people in office in the first place.
Yeah, you point to the fact that people need to join the fight if it's one of conviction or principle that they agree with, even if there is no guarantee of victory, and even if defeat is almost certainly guaranteed. And you went on to write that defeat can unleash the power of righteous indignation.
Exactly. And, you know, I've been seeing that as I've crisscrossed the country, speaking at multiple places, and people are excited about the possibility of, you know, some common sense once again coming to reign in our capital. It is possible, but it will not happen on its own. It will require people to forcefully exercise their freedom of speech and their freedom at the ballot.
All right, I want to ask you as a physician, your worries about the system as it is now the law of the land and it continues to be implemented and rolled out. There was a piece in the New York Times this week that raised real concerns about networks, how tight they may get, leaving people with fewer options when it comes to hospitals and doctors, and even talking about the case we've cited in New Hampshire where, you know, hospital administrators there say people may have to drive 60 minutes just to get to a doctor. What are your big concerns about the law?
Well, you know, I obviously have a lot of colleagues and friends who are in medicine, most of whom are saying, boy, you're sure lucky you're able to retire. They're not very happy about what's going on. And what's happening is a lot of people are moving into the kinds of practices that are not affected by insurance, what we call concierge practices. That leaves those who are still in the system with even more of a load. If you add, you know, 30 or 40 million more people and you've taken away a significant number of the providers, you don't have to be a genius to recognize that the waits are going to be long. It's going to be very difficult sometimes to find people. And that coupled with the fact that many people have been forced into the exchanges, into places where they didn't want to be. They were perfectly happy with their insurance. 85% of people had insurance, and the 15% who didn't have it were changing the whole system for them, which is affecting a lot more than 15%.
Doctor, we thank you for your time. We're out of time. We appreciate it. We'll be right back.